Hello and welcome to 360 Sports on Trust TV. I am Emmanuel Fashimi. It is a beautiful week and I've got a whole lot on the show this morning for your viewing pleasure. It was a weekend full of action and football and other sporting events in Nigeria and in the world. But we'll be looking at is an exciting moment also in the Nigerian Premier Football League and the course of the weekend. So we have a whole lot for you this morning, and we'll begin with this particular story. Yes, at the beginning, towards the ending of last month, on the 21st of September precisely, this fight actually happened between the two heavyweight boxers, the British heavyweight boxer. One is in Nigeria, of a Nigerian descent, but fighting for Britain. That is Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois, Double D, they call him. It was a big one right there at the Wembley Stadium in front of 92,000 spectators. Anthony Joshua lost that fight in the fifth round for Dubois to retain his belt, the IBF belt. But this time around, after the fight, a whole lot has gone under the water, and Anthony Joshua himself coming out to make a statement that he has actually learned. He made a lot of mistakes towards that fight, and at the end of the day, he lost. But he's looking forward to another shot at Daniel Dubois in the rematch. And a lot of boxing pundits, former boxers, have actually come out to also support that rematch decision. And now the story is Price, former British heavyweight boxer champion, that is David Price, has also supported that Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua AJ should have another rematch. I have Ayola from Benin City joining me on the show this morning.
Hello, good morning, Fash. Can you hear me, please?
Can you hear me, Ayola?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. Good morning to you.
Hello, Ayola, are you there?
Yeah, I'm with you. I can hear you clearly. Good morning.
If you can hear us, then you can get back to us for this particular fight.
I can hear you clearly. Good morning.
Making a lot of statement that he has actually learned his lessons from those mistakes in that fight against Daniel Dubois. In the fifth round, they lost that fight, and it's not just what the fans actually expected here in Nigeria, in Britain, right there, and all over the world. All right, Ayola, are you there? Okay, all right, let's go straight up. For Anthony Joshua, a lot of boxing pundits and ex-boxers are actually supporting that there should be a rematch between Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua himself has come out to say he's not backing down, he's not giving up. He wants to be, at least he wants to join the ranks of Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson, to Evander Holyfield, I beg your pardon, to be those boxers that have won the belt, that is the heavyweight champion, 3 good times. And he said yes, he's going back there to have a rematch against Daniel Dubois.
Yeah, for me, I think a rematch is necessary for these two boxers. You know, we've seen how they both came up against each other. Unfortunately, it went on the losing end for Anthony Joshua. And, you know, I think Anthony Joshua, having come out to say that he has learned a lot of lessons, this is becoming a recurrence, especially anytime he's fighting against a more or less fancied boxer, or probably coming up against an underdog, as they would say. So, it is something is a team need to look into. When you are coming up against this underdog, you need to study them very well. You don't need to approach them as if you are there already at the top, because this underdog, just as he himself was an underdog when he defeated the likes of the Klitschko brothers, and you know, coming up the ranking to become what he is today, he should also have it at the back of his mind that the same way he came into the limelight of boxing, into the heavyweight level, the same way these underdogs want to come out. That was what happened against him, first against Dennis Jr., and now as well against, you know, Zuber. Excuse me. Daniel Dubois, and we can see how that played out for him. So it's quite an unfortunate one. And as he said, he has learned a lot of lessons, but it is very important that we see the second bout between these two of them, so that can put to bed if there is any superiority of Daniel Dubois over Anthony Joshua, or the first bout between the two of them was just a mere sheer luck for Dubois. So let's get to see the second bout, and if Anthony Joshua gets to win, that may be leading us into a tripartite to get to know who eventually will be the champion between the two of them. So for me, I think it's a welcome development, it's a welcome idea by ex-boxers, by pundits, and by enthusiasts that there should be a rematch between these two guys.
Okay, there should be a rematch between these two guys. Anthony Joshua, actually, on paper, before that fight, Anthony Joshua looked good of winning the fight against Daniel, but at the end of the day, what happened in the ring was not what the fans actually expected himself. He was disappointed with himself, and also the fans were disappointed in that fight. All right, let's move away from boxing and look at this particular story quickly. Yes, it is a sport that is gaining momentum in Nigeria. Already the sport is gaining ground in the world, but in Nigeria it's also growing fast. We just had the world tournament right here in Lagos just weeks ago, and the good news, we're talking about fencing now. When I say fencing, some people might be looking at the brick wall of their compound, but this time around it's a sport. Now it's a sport. It's played with something like a sword. It's not a sword. It's an aluminium sheet. That is what it's called, made of aluminium. And there are points. There are ways they can't point. But this fencer, Akinsoye by name, he's a Nigerian. Folayemi Akinsoye switches allegiance to Nigeria from Britain. And now he's coming with his own wealth of experience to join with the fencers we already have in Nigeria.
Yeah, that's a very good one for Akisoye, a good development, I would say. We have seen many athletes that are moving from the country to other countries, and we are also seeing athletes moving from Europe, from America to come represent Nigeria. So we are always happy seeing these people coming around to say that they want to represent their fatherland, and at the same time, they are not coming for them to be trained. They are already trained. They already know more about this game, and they have the wealth, if I may say. When I mean wealth now, in quotes now, they have the resources to take care of themselves. So they just feel like representing Nigeria. Probably, they want to go down into their grave, having the pride in their mind that, oh, I represented Nigeria at some point in time. I won laurels for Nigeria and what have you. Because no matter what the case may be, your country is your country, regardless of wherever you are giving birth to. So I think this is a good one. And I hope that the Fencing Federation of Nigeria will look into this one and also rally round against this athlete and give him the support that is needed, so that his switching of allegiance is not going to be more like a regret for him at the end of the day.
Yes, the president of that federation, Denyinka Samuel, has already welcomed the young man joining up with Nigeria, switching allegiance from Britain to represent Nigeria. And the good news is that fencing will be debuting. Fencing will be there at the Los Angeles Olympics in 2028. And Nigerian fencers are looking forward to the Los Angeles 2028. And now we have someone who switched allegiance from Britain to join up with Nigeria. And kudos to Samuel Adenyinka, the president of the Nigerian Fencing Federation. They are also called NFF, but this time around not Nigerian Football Federation. And he welcomed that development, and he's seeing that it's going to have a positive impact on the sport in Nigeria. So it's a good one. Welcome back, Akinsoye, at least joining up with Nigeria in this particular sport. But let's still dwell on this quickly. Ayola, for fencing is not a sport that has really gained ground in Nigeria. Where do you think we can get it right with this particular sport, fencing?
Yeah, talking about where we can get it right with this particular sport, fencing. As you rightly said, it is not a popular sport in the country. It is a sport that we feel that we should have in our country, see what is being done in other countries in the world and in some African countries. But I think the major thing that many federations have been neglecting, not doing, is taking a look into the grassroots. And this is where you build for the future. this kind of sport, if you want it to become popular, what you need to do is try to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Education, where this can be introduced to all primary schools, secondary schools. So once that is done, then you come up with respective competition, probably league. You set it up after you must have trained them for like 3, 4, 6 months. Then you introduce different league for them to be involved in. That will build their confidence. And as time goes on, you see them representing the country in regional, sub-regional, continental level, and probably if they can make it to the Commonwealth Games, the Olympics, or if there's World Championship, they can always make it there. But the most important thing is look inward, start from the grassroots, build this into our education system. Let the primary school students, the secondary school students, let them be the future for the country. And that, I think, will be the best way to start this and bring it into the country.
Okay, the best way is go back to the grassroots, integrate it into our educational system, and definitely we will get it right. All right, let's leave fencing and talk MPFL this time around. It was a good weekend in the Nigerian Premier Football League. We had a whole lot in Nigeria. Ahmed Musa coming back to join up alongside Abdullahi Shehu, and Ahmed Musa making headlines. But the news that this morning, it was a breaking one. We have two coaches now in the Nigerian Premier Football League. Lobi Stars, Lobi Stars yesterday named Daniel the Bull Amokachi as the new coach. And then this morning, one coach resigns from his position. That is the Ikorodu City coach, the first community football team we have in Nigeria. Coach by name Ozebagbe resigning his position as Ikorodu City coach. And then we have Daniel Amokachi becoming the new coach of Lobi Stars. I think for Lobi Stars, well, should I say it's a smart move for them, at least bringing back their son?
I wouldn't say it's not a good move, but at the same time, I'm not convinced about this move. There's something we need to understand. Quite understood that Daniel Amokachi is their son. They want him to be at the end of affair. But you want to ask yourself a question. When last was Daniel Amokachi in training or in a coaching job? When last did he train a team? And when last, what can you say precisely that Daniel Amokachi can offer this team? But at the same time, Eugene Agagbe himself came from nowhere, if I may say, and she helped the team last season on the verge of getting to the continent. But unfortunately, one or two things happened 2 seasons ago as well. They were in the Super 6. They couldn't make it to the continent. Last season, in the Straight League, they couldn't also make it by some whisker or something that happened in the team. All of a sudden, they started losing games. At a point in time, they were at the top of the table. Now, Eugene Agagbe has done his best. He has served the team the way he should serve the team. They have Daniel Amokachi on the team. Daniel Amokachi is not new to the NPFL, right? He's been there with Nasarawa United, with Gateway at some point in time. He's been with Eyimba International. He's been with a couple of teams in the NPFL. I think about 7 or 6 different teams he has coached in the NPFL. So he's not new to the system. But you should know also that the system has changed a lot since the last time Amokachi was in charge of a club in the NPFL. But the question again is, when last we say about him in the last 3 years as a coach, will whatever profession or courses he has undergone, will they have an impact or effect for the team Lobi Stars? That's a big question. But I think it's still a record development. This is the third 1994 set player for Super Eagles of Nigeria. We have, in the NPFL now, from Finidi George to Amokachi, now with Hatman, then Amamulike himself. The trend is becoming interesting, but at the same time, I'm not too convinced about Daniel Amokachi being the next man to take charge of Lobi Stars. But let's give him the benefit of doubt.
Okay. How about the man that left Ikorodu City? Ikorodu City did the unthinkable by getting promoted to the Nigerian Premier Football League, their first time in the top division in Nigeria. But now it's not really looking good for Ikorodu City. And the man just says, okay, before I'm being shown the exit door, he tendered his resignation just this morning.
Yeah, that is an honorable thing to do by the coach, Ozebagbe. He's done fantastically well for Ikorodu City, bringing them from the relegation. I think the team is just 2 years in existence, and they were able to make it to the NPFL. That is a very, very big record, if you ask me. But he brought them on to the NPFL, and at the same time, the NPFL spirit or the NPFL level has overwhelmed him. No doubt about this one. NPFL is not child's play. We can be looking at it that, NPFL is not a difficult league to play. It is when you get there that you get to know that NPFL is not child's play. And for, Ozebagbe, I think he's done the best thing. He loves the team, and he feels that he can no longer carry the team. Then he had to resign. That is if there is nothing like sacking and how to make it like a resignation, just the same way we know how things happen in the world. But I think getting the news that he resigned, I think it's a good one. I wish Ikorodu City all the best. I hope they'll be bringing in somebody that has got the NPFL know-how on board. It's not about the players that even have. It has to do with the coach himself. And even the coach should also be able to manage the players that he has in his team until when he has the opportunity of bringing in new players to help him. But that will be until January. And this is just October. And they have not won a game. I think they've had only 2 draws so far this season, which is not convincing at all. 2 points for them in about 5 games is not too good. But I think Ikorodu City, I see them bouncing back. But let's wait to see who is going to replace him at first. Then we get to know if that person can bring in good things for them or not.
Okay, I have Jeremiah Omoni joining this morning. Jeremiah, you heard from Ayola. I don't know, Daniel Amokachi becoming the new coach of Lobi Stars, and we have that of Ikorodu City. The man at least putting in his resignation, and you are in Lagos. You have a first hand info. At least you close to the team. I don't know. What's your take about Daniel, and then for Ozebagbe leaving his position, resigning from his position as the coach of Ikorodu City?
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. For me, the Ikorodu City, the issue actually has been looming for a while, and even I was already expecting the coach to be sacked. I was talking about Ikorodu City because of the fact that, okay, they've just played their 5th game yesterday against Plateau United. It was actually, they really put a lot of fight. Okay, they've been fighting so far, but if you look at the way the thing have been going, I felt that probably maybe the coach or even the club, they actually felt that, okay, the MPFL is just like the NNL. Let us just continue in the same pattern. So, and I think that was one thing that really affected them, because if you look at some of the players they actually paraded, or they are parading currently this, you notice that most of them don't really have the MPFL experience. Fine, we might talk about talent, youth. We have the youth must actually participate, but you cannot rule away experience when it comes to. You can't rule away experience, and that takes me back to Nottingham Forest when Nottingham Forest gained a promotion into the MPFL. They had to buy a lot of players. They did a lot of signing, over 20 signings, and yet they were not even getting it right. The next season again, they went again to the market to buy players. To let you know that when you come to the top flight league, it's not for babies. It's a serious business. It's not for babies. If you are not ready, if you are not fully ready, if you don't know your onions, I tell you, you are not fit. You cannot participate. Just let me use the word of the Bender Insurance coach. It's all about participation. You cannot participate. You don't know your honors at all. So it's a lot of I know I'm actually teasing Ayola actually. So it's a lot of participation. A lot of participation. I tell you, a lot of participation. But now that the coach has left, if you look at the MPFL market right now, getting a coach right now, you're going to be breaking the bank. You need to be spending money. Yeah. And that's one thing I don't know if Ikorodu City has right now at the moment. Because if you look at them, they're like a startup club. They are starting up. It's not like they have the government financial muscle, like clubs like Yimba, Rivers United, and the rest of others. So, which means it's actually going to be a very big, unless they have a coach who is ready to work with passion. Unless you don't have that, it's going to be a very big thing to get a coach.
I'd like to say something as regarding you talking about them breaking the bank. I don't think that is actually going to be the case. we have so many coaches in the MPFL who have been at home for quite a long time now, and they have not been in the market themselves. And this be an opportunity for them to also come back into the league, probably using Ikorodu City as a stepping stone, like a recuperating process for themselves. We have so many coaches. We've got our coach Samson Emmanuel in the team. Our coach he's been with Calabar for the time, and I think he's not a new man in the league. I think it was also with MFMFC, if I'm not wrong. So somebody like that can come on board. Put Festus Allen also. He's also a man that has also been in the league for a long time.
Allen, yeah, you're right.
Never can say these men, and they are also talent builders. They may also have interest in coming on board, and we also have a lot of coaches in the NIS, newly graduated, that haven't seen job, but they are fantastic coaches. So Ikorodu City could just be like an avenue for many of them to actually introduce themselves or to bring themselves back into the league. I just feel that, as you rightly said earlier, the players they are parading, some of them are not just MPFL, standard. Vendor Insurance themselves, in the first season when they came back from the relegation, they brought in quite a number of young players, the likes of Michael Jodomo, who also has MPFL experience though, but was a young player. Ivan Nwachukwu never had MPFL experience. Deputy Echeta never had MPFL experience. Many of them like that, but they had to bring in few players, although who did only few. But their presence in the team helped them a lot. Players like Austin Oguye, players like what's his name now? Ebenezer Odeyemi. They brought in Osas Okoro, and many players like that just to help the team stand with the young players and the experience. And we saw what happened at the end of the day. So I think the same thing is what Ikorodu City have also done, bringing in these young players. We still need to bring in about 3-4 experiences. But let's just hope that any of these coaches can come up and pick up the job. But I don't think it's necessarily will be that they have to break the bank to bring in any coach.
Okay, let's see what Ikorodu City will do. They are the first community club we have in Nigeria. So let's see if definitely they are going to do that and get the maximum, just get the coach that can really take them out of the murky waters now, because they are close. In fact, they are the relegation zone. Not yet. We just played 5 games. And we still have a long way to go. All right, let's quickly look at the games for the weekend. One game was played this morning. That game was concluded at the Aba International Stadium. Anybody against Katsina United, it was 3-0. So that game was this morning concluded. There was the game was abandoned yesterday. Okay, let's look at the full result of match day 5. We have Lobi Stars who beat Shooting Stars of Ibadan 1-0 at the adopted ground in Lafia. Bendel Insurance Academy played a 1-1 draw. Nasarawa United, Bayelsa United ended on a goalless affair. Enugu Rangers continue with their lone goal scoring spree against their neighbors. It was a rental derby, 1-0 against Abia Warriors. Heartland FC of Owerri getting this win at all costs. First win for Emmanuel Amunike against Niger Tornadoes. Kano Pillars 2-0 against Sunshine Stars of Akure. For Ahmed Musa, he got those 2 goals and also missed a penalty. Kwara United 1-0 against Rainbow Stars. Rainbow Stars, who started the season well, winning 4 out of 4, but at least they've lost that 100% record now. Plateau United beat Ikorodu City 1-0. You heard it all. They actually put a fight in that game, but at the end of the day, they lost at Jos Township Stadium. We have Rivers United under Finidi George doing so well. They came back, at least they were able to beat Aqua United 2-1. They left it late in that game. And Enyimba trashed Katsina United 3-0. That game was played this morning. Jeremiah, I will start with you quickly. For the result in the course of the weekend, we had quite interesting games in match day 5 of the Nigerian Premier Football League. So we've seen we had about 2 draws there. We have Bendel Insurance, Nasarawa United playing out a draw. And then for the other games, it was a home win. We don't have an away win in match day 5.
Okay, yes, and I think that's another big thing, because so far I think the league this week, the games were played on Sunday. I think it actually produced less than 15 goals. Not to talk of the ones on Saturday. There was no any away win. I think in total most of the games were not even up to 20 goals. But I think the question I wanted to actually raise again was the fact that we're looking at Lobi Stars that sacked the coach because they have not been winning games. And look at what the coach was able to do for them last season. Now look at Bayelsa United. I think by now the coach of Bayelsa United should be queried. By now, yes. Yeah, Ladaboso should be queried by now. Because when you look at the fact that, okay, we brought in somebody, I was surprised how he was signed to Bayelsa United, looking at his precedents, his antecedents in the under 20, and I was like, okay, why is this guy in Bayelsa United? And look at what he's doing in Bayelsa United. You cannot even coach successfully 6 games, a tournament game, a tournament competition. You're coming to coach a marathon league. And you are expecting miracles because for me, I think Ladaboso is expecting miracles to happen with Bayelsa, with him in Bayelsa United. That's one thing I'm looking at. Because if you look at the way they've been playing, I know you were saying that, I picked the point in Benin. Don't put that. Rivers United picked the point in Benin. That's not really a big issue. The big issue is that how well are you dealing your own front? And that's where Bayelsa United is getting it wrong. Now, not to talk about Bayelsa United only. Now look at Rivers United. I can tell people that the first season of Finidi George was very, very bad. It was very, very bad in name of affairs with Enyimba. And I must say kudos to the management of Enyimba for giving him the opportunity to prove himself to the end of the season and even to the next season where he won the league. Just imagine that Finidi George was sacked in the first 6 months with Enyimba. Obviously, by now, he might not even be in that state with Rivers United. Yeah. So that what do I mean by that now? Is that when the coach is having a bad time, I don't really think that it's always very, very nice to always sack a coach almost immediately, just 5 games into whatever is happening. You need to do a lot of assessments, technical evaluation to look at, okay, this coach that is having issues, what is wrong with him or her? Why is he having these issues? Okay, is it the players? Is it because we are new to the league? What are the things to do to assist this coach to get him back? And I think that's one thing that the club management needs to understand. Don't be in an hurry to, this coach has not done this, this coach has not done that. We need to sack him. If you sack him, the one that is coming, how sure are you that he's going to do better?
Okay.
And I say that the league has really changed. The league has really changed. I can say that it's actually a very good one. The result so far has actually been very good. I was expecting Remo to pick a point at least in Ilorin, but it didn't work out, unfortunately. And kudos to Rivers United and Finidi George. I think he has actually silent critics that is able to take on the big jobs.
Okay. Now, for you, Ayola, let's look at Bendel Insurance. This season, Bendel Insurance, the firepower from that team is really going on for Bendel Insurance.
Okay, talking about Insurance FC, I think it's a very sad moment for us here in Benin. I must tell you that one. It is not what we actually feel is going to happen that is happening. But at the same time, there is this belief that Insurance will surely bounce back. If you take a look at the team, about 13, 14 players left the team at once for a new season to start. And these players are already established players. Bringing in new 13 players or 15 fresh players is going to take the coach a long time, to steady the ship of the team, which I believe that in no time that's going to happen. But of recent, hasn't been a convincing one. Getting draws at home, away, getting beaten, managing only 1 win so far over Shooting Star Sport Club. But that's not too much thing to dwell over. I believe the team will bounce back. But for Enyimba, when the season started, I picked only 3 teams that I predicted were going to be in the front, burner for the league. And I mentioned Enyimba, I mentioned Remo Stars, and I mentioned Rivers United. And so far, I think the 3 teams, I didn't pick any Rangers. Apologies to them if they feel bad, but I feel they're not going to win it again. But I feel Enyimba, Remo, and Rivers United are going to be, in it. And we can see what Finidi George is doing with Rivers United. Silently picking points, wins, draws, necessary draws, is picking them. And he's been doing fine so far. Enyimba also, Yemi Olariwaju, has shown, this is a man I've adored so much. At some point in time, I recommended him, for Bendel Insurance, that he should be their coach. But for some reasons, probably because I'm not a consultant to the team, they feel the person I'm bringing is not that good. Now we can see what Yemi Olariwaju has been doing, what he did with Finidi George at Enyimba, now what he's doing as coach of Enyimba, continental-wise and even on the domestic front, is doing fantastically well. 3-0 win over Katsina United is not a new team to me. Anyways, I know they were going to do that one. Then for Remo Stars and Kwara United, yeah, I actually predicted the game over the weekend that Kwara United was going to win over Remo Stars. I was expecting that for a long time. And if you take a look at the history between the two sides, though Remo must have had the upper hand against Kwara United over time, but Kwara needed that win so much. And you will know that the current general manager of Kwara United is also familiar with Remo Stars. So probably one or two things, I knew the game was going to be in their favor, and they got it. Kano Pillars, good one for the governor himself, talking about Ahmed Musa. 2 goals scored, a penalty missed, not too good, but then he announced himself back into the NPFL. I'm very happy that he's back in the NPFL alongside Abdullah Shehu. I want more of Super Eagles players, ex-players to come into the league, come and brace up the league instead of you running around leagues around the world. And then also, looking at Atland of Owerri, I also saw that coming. They were going to get their first win, and they did that. I think Emmanuel Amunike is also finding his feet now with the team, although not too happy as well with the kind of players he brought to the team. This is not under 17 football team. This is MPFL team. But I believe that as time goes on, they can gel well. Then lastly, the game I'm going to talk about is that of Nasarawa and Bayelsa United. Remember that Adam Bosso has been with Nasarawa United once upon a time, and I feel that could also play a role in that one. I knew it was going to be more like a draw for him. He's going back home, and at the same time, with a new team. He hasn't done so well with Bayelsa United over the years. I mean, over the few weeks he's been around there. And just as Jeremiah said earlier, it is not a convincing thing for me. But, this man is the president of Nigerian coaches. Maybe that is the immunity he's enjoying with Bayelsa United. But I feel the immunity is not going to last long. And I feel that they might be giving him match ultimatum now, or matches ultimatum, which may not be in the media. But in the next couple of weeks, we should also be getting a news coming in from Bayelsa if they fail to change from this level.
Okay, if they fail to change from this level, let's look at the table. Let's look at the Nigerian Premier Football League table after a round of matches in Match Day 5. Remo Stars have relinquished the top of the table as we speak. Rivers United, after beating Katsina this morning, they are at the top with 13 points after 5 games. We have Enyimba second with 12 points. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Enyimba beat Katsina United this morning. They are second with 12 points. Rivers United was able to get the job over Akwa United because of 2-1 against Akwa United. Won that game. And then we have Remo Stars, who lost to Kwara United, first lose of the season, 12 points. Enugu Rangers now moved to 4th position with 10 points after they were able to beat their Oriental brothers Abia Warriors 1-0 at Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium. Plateau United now have 8 points on the 5th position, and Ekanemi Warriors occupying the first half of the table with 6 points. Let's go to the flip side of the table, the second side of it. We have Nasarawa United starting the second side of the table with 6 points, and Ikorodu City still maintain their 1 point at the bottom of the table after 5 games. All right, let's leave the Nigerian Premier Football League and quickly go straight to the EPL, the big one also in the course of the weekend in the English Premier Football League. It was action weekend in England, in Spain, in Italy, but we'll start with the EPL this morning and yesterday. I think Manchester United fans now, we have, should I say, they will have a relief a little bit. They went to Villa Park and it was a goalless draw. And then for Chelsea and Nottingham Forest, I think that game lived up to its billing. Nottingham Forest was able to at least get a draw from Stamford Bridge, and the goalkeeper of Nottingham Forest, both goalkeepers, Sanchez for Chelsea, both goalkeepers were outstanding in that game. Brighton came back to beat Tottenham Hotspur 3-2. Crystal Palace lost to Liverpool at Selhurst Park 1-0. Arsenal 3-1 against Southampton. Brentford in the 8-goal thriller against Wolverhampton Wanderers 5-3. Leicester City won, Bournemouth 0, and Manchester City also sweat at Etihad to beat Fulham 3-2. West Ham United beat Ipswich Town 4-1, and Everton and Newcastle United ended on a goalless draw. Now, Jerry, I will start with you. Let me not say you were throwing jabs to Manchester United fans, but they were able to get a draw at Villa Park.
Okay. Actually, the thing is that the way Manchester United is acting this lately is something I'm not so excited with. This is a club that I have followed keenly for over, if I'm not mistaken, for over 15 years. 2005, 2006, the Champions League days, the Silas Ferguson treble days, Cristiano Ronaldo's moments, and so many other times. So it's one club in England that I've actually followed keenly. I really like the way they play, the players and everything. But right now, I don't want to be talking like one of the ex-internationals, their former players.
You don't want to be
They
talking
just
like
come on.
Bosco's?
Things are not really working well for Manchester United right now. And I would say that this problem lies in the hands of the players and the coaches. The coach and the players, they really have a share in this big problem, in this maze of problems. Look at the way some of those players play. You'll be surprised that you guys were trained better. Even if you are being taught something, the reason why you have common sense is so that you can apply some things, even when things are not working out in your way. And that shows even in the way they considered go against Porto, the way they were able to pick points at Aston Villa. Fine, it was really cool, but Manchester United has gone past this level by which they should be struggling. They are really struggling at the moment. They are really struggling. For now, I think Ten Hag needs to do a lot of evaluation and to see if things are going to work his way. And if it's not going to work, he should leave. He should take that moment of winning 2 FA Cups, an FA Cup and a Carling Cup, and move away, because this time around, things are not really working in his direction. Things are not really working in his direction. And that's why I thought I did a lot of transfer, buying players, injuries, rocking the team right now, and he's not getting the best. And I think he really made some wrong moves, some wrong moves in that team that I felt that not really helping the player. He's not helping the team.
All right. For you, Ayola, let's
it's not really hard
quickly.
to set up a team.
Chelsea is, I think they are gradually gaining momentum, and they are playing as more or less as a team. And we're seeing what Maresca has started doing with this Chelsea young squad. Ayola, are you there? I said we are looking at Chelsea. Though they played a 1-1 draw against Nottingham Forest after Nottingham Forest went 10-man down. But we've seen a very good Chelsea momentum right now. This Chelsea young side are playing like a team, and I think Maresca is bringing is doing something in that team right now. Has started something with that team right now. That Chelsea will be a team to beat this season.
Yeah, definitely. Chelsea is going to be a team to beat this season, going by what they've done so far under Enzo Maresca. Although for me, I don't think this is their season. I think this season is only for them to get familiarized with each other, create a synergy, and build for future seasons. Maybe from next season, they can start calling themselves title contenders and try to look for title, probably the FA Cup or the Capital World Cup, or even in the Europe. But nothing will stop them from getting anyone this season if they can. They've done well. They've shown that they are a team to beat, as Riley said, and it's going to now be, something to ask if they are truly title contenders. But going by the weekend result, not in the season, I think they've always been more like a front flesh of Chelsea. So yesterday wasn't surprising for me. 1-1 for them. It's not a bad one for Chelsea. Chelsea doesn't have eyes on them. That is the truth of the matter. So more like there's no pressure on them. Even if they get to lose now, nobody's going to talk too much. But when they win, people appreciate Maresca and the players. Young crop of players, good project for them over there. In the next 3 years, you see these guys, grow into something big entirely, and they're going to pick way for the team to win many laurels. Then talking about Manchester United, well, I've told them for the past 3-4 seasons that they are in a phase they don't want to accept that they are in. Arsenal passed through this phase. Liverpool passed through this phase. Real Madrid passed through this phase. AC Milan passed through this phase. And the phase is the phase of rebuilding. When you get to the top, there is definitely going to be a down coming. Like when you get to the top of the triangle, you surely come down. Recycling theory is affecting them. but they don't want to agree they are in the phase. And that is why they are trying to bring in players to force success. You need to understand that your team is at this stage. Break your team down, just like Chelsea FC. You can see what Chelsea is putting together. I mean, many people are asking questions, who are these under 17 players you guys are bringing together? But they took away pressure from themselves. They have targets for like 3 seasons, 4 seasons. They want to get back to where they used to be, and that is working for them. So the same thing I feel Manchester United should do. We get faith with Eric Ten Hag. That's a big question I don't have an answer to. But if they are going to bring in another coach, how long are they going to give this coach to build? Remember how Jurgen Klopp also came into Liverpool and how he built the team. Then for Manchester City, a good win for them. Although in the last couple of games now, we've been seeing the absence of Rodri in their team. But thank God they were able to munch out a victory over Fulham FC. Fulham FC has also been a very difficult team to play against this season so far. Then for Newcastle United, I think they're also coming down gradually. We saw in the last 3 games not being convincing. Everton also picking up gradually. The starting of the season wasn't good for them, but I think in the last 3 matches they picked like 2 draws and 1 victory. A good way for them to jump up. And for Arsenal, yes, this is a champion instinct that they are bringing out. 3-1 win over Wolverhampton Wanderers. Over Southampton at the Emirates. Good win for them. Then lastly, Aston Villa, good one for Aston Villa. You can see what they did in the Champions League in the midweek, and picking a very good Manchester United also is a very good weekend for them. So I think they should just build on this one, and let's see how well they can go from there.
Let's see how well they can go from there. Let's look at the table quickly of the English Premier Football League. We know Liverpool is at the top of the table with 18 points after 7 matches. We have Man City, who are second with 17 points. We have Arsenal on the 3rd position with 17 points. Goal difference between Arsenal and Man City. They have the same number of goal difference, and they occupy 2nd and 3rd position respectively. Chelsea is on the 4th position with 14 points. Aston Villa, with that draw, is now 5th with 14 points. Chelsea going top of Aston Villa with goal difference. We have Brighton on the 6th position with 12 points. They came from behind to beat Tottenham Hotspur. Newcastle United on the 7th position with 12 points. And we have Nottingham Forest. They didn't move a muscle from their position. They remain 10th on the Premier League table. Let's go to the second side of the table. We now have Brentford starting the second side of it with 10 points. West Ham United we now have 8 points on the 12th position. Bournemouth 13th with 8 points, and Manchester United minus 3 goal difference with 8 points. And then we have Wolves who has occupied the position where Everton was after 3 games, a round of games in the English Premier League. They now have they have 1 point occupying the 20th position. All right, let's go to La Liga. It was a 3-star performance. One man, Lewandowski, who cannot stop scoring or score in La Liga. Leganés and Valencia started the weekend on the goalless affair. We have Espanyol played a 2-1 against Real Mallorca. Getafe won, Osasuna won. Las Palmas lost at home to Celta Vigo 1-0. We have Real Valladolid won, Rayo Vallecano 2-1 against Real Valladolid. And for Real Madrid, it was 2-0 against Villarreal. Valverde with a screamer getting the first goal before the fantastic man there. At least the world is expecting him to win the Ballon d'Or, getting the second goal for Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu. We have Girona beating Athletic Club 2-1. Late goal from that game from the sport, giving Girona 2-1 against Athletic Club. And then we have Deportivo Alaves. Like I said, it was a 3-star performance for Lewandowski, getting the hat-trick in that game, scoring the 3 goals. And Sevilla continued their resurgence, beating Real Betis 1-0. And Real Sociedad played a 1-1 draw with the draw master Atletico Madrid, who went to Real Sociedad to get a draw in that game. It is what it is. Ayola, I will continue with you. For Real Madrid, they actually struggled in this game, but what matters most is at least getting the 3 points in the bag.
Game, it may not actually give the reflection of what transpired on the field of play. 2-0, people will tell you that it was a convincing victory, but we know that it wasn't that totally convincing. But they were able to get what they need to get at some point in time, and at the time they needed it. So that is also champion instinct that they exhibited there. For Barcelona, a good win for them against the Deportivo Alaves, 3 goals to nothing away from home after not too good weekend and Champions League a week for them. But I think this one is a good one that they are able to come back into this one with a 3-0 resounding win. Can they build on this one? Time we tell if Hansi Flick can definitely do that one. Then for Atletico Madrid, I do not know. I've said this over time that I think it is time for Diego Simeone to just call it quits. But probably he has signed a life contract with Atletico de Madrid. But 1-1 for them from away is not also bad. A good one. Sevilla also getting a win is another good result for the weekend in the La Liga.
Okay, Ayola, thank you very much for that. Let's just look at the first side of the table of La Liga because we're out of time. We have Barcelona who went back to the top of the table with 24 points. Real Madrid second with 21 points. And then Real Betis occupying the 10th position with 12 points. Before we go, it is a good news for our Super Falcons player Rashidat Ajibade in the Women's League for Spain, winning the Player of the Month. Rashidat Ajibade has been fantastic. In the month of September, she scored 5 goals in 4 league games for Atletico Madrid. That's a massive one. But guys, I will not allow you to react to this because we are out of time. So congratulations to Rashidat Ajibade for winning the Player of the Month. Ayola from Benin, thank you for coming up on the show. And to you, Jeremiah.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Please tell Ikorodu City to get you that job. Maybe you will do something with Ikorodu City. Thank you guys for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
A player. Thank you very much.
That is it on the program. I am Emmanuel Fashemi. Thanks for watching.